Hey, it's Richard Moore, North Mississippi Anti-Gang Stalking Association, and on YouTube, United States Anti-Gang Stalking Association. Give you a picture of the backdrop here. That's Elvis. And I am at the birthplace of Elvis Presley in Tupelo, Mississippi. Matter of fact, right behind me, you get a shot there, that's Tupelo Hardware, and that's where Elvis bought his first guitar, supposedly. He's the darling of this city, North Mississippi. We're maybe 45 minutes, an hour tops from Memphis. Let me raise my other. And to my knowledge, and I stand to be corrected on that if I'm wrong, he only came back twice, so there wasn't a tremendous love loss for Elvis and Tupelo. And I can imagine a young man growing up on the wrong side of the tracks, a little community called Shade Rag, which was predominantly a black area. To my east here, maybe a half mile, is his birthplace, or at least that's the way it's touted. I understand that that particular small wood frame house was moved from a less seedier section, if you will, of Tupelo, and it's where it stands today. And so they garner a lot of visitors here worldwide, usually during the time when people make pilgrimages to Graceland. So if you're in the area, it's worth to come see. If you're targeted, and I'm gonna try to get some of this traffic here, it's impossible, so we'll get the traffic in the background. They've been running the black and white deal, the dark vehicles. Matter of fact, they've been doing that all day. Well, it's every day, actually. What am I thinking? So at any rate, this is for the targeted individual that is a Elvis aficionado. If you don't want to be stalked heavily, don't come to Tupelo. There's not many things going on here, but they definitely got that going on. Let's try to get this, the hive or the swarm back here. For those that are victims of stalking, know far too well what I'm saying. So I'm going to do a little walking here. I've got my GoPro, got that thing strapped on, and so in case something happens to my feed, you know, I've always got my backup. So with that said, I shared a video yesterday of a former law enforcement official. I think he was a deputy sheriff, and talking about the just the basics of gang stalking and what it is. And the way he found out was from his friend that was in law enforcement as well. I think they worked together. His best friend actually came to him and said, "I'm supposed to tell you this," and he broke it down. He broke the whole program down of how it's ran, mind you, I get this traffic here, by the sheriff's department. They signed confidentiality agreements, and then he goes on to explain, on a message, you cannot make stuff like this up. You see it in the background. There we go. All right, they can't help themselves. You get it's a mixture, folks. A little bit of inbreeding, narcissism, moronism, and low IQ, and we're off to the races. So, with that said, I'm going to give you kind of let you see traffic and try to hold this phone steady. I don't have a selfie stick. I do have a stick wrapped in barbed wire, but it's not a selfie stick. It could be a selfie stick. Maybe this is good for the backdrop there. Looky. That's a former Masonic church or temple, forgive me. We do know that the Masons and the Mormons, Muslim Brotherhood, are heavily involved in this stalking program. And I've got some personal opinions on why, and I think I'm pretty close to right on that. You know, the Masons were basically just kind of swept under the rug years ago. I mean, the time had come and gone for the for that, and so the new gangs came in. But are Masons gangs? Sure they are. Just like any other gang, the Masons are any other white gang. They're white supremacists. They don't acknowledge the black Masons, by the way. They've got their own lodges, and I've repeated what 33 and a third degree, whatever it is, degree Masons, whatever the highest, they coincide their highest ranking to the age of Christ, as if that means anything. It means about as much as me going and pulling a lever on a slot machine 33 and a half times, and that meaning something. That's nothing a monkey couldn't do. But at any rate, you know, as we see the stalking, it continues. It's relentless. It is absolutely relentless, and this is why. The people involved in the stalking, it's coordinated and ran by law enforcement. Okay, they're the keepers at the gate on this criminal organization. Now, it's billed as not being that. What they tell the masses that they're doing versus what they're actually doing are two different animals. And maybe when something goes awry, horribly wrong, maybe when like we've seen in the past, with from the guy going postal to the movie theater massacre, all these horrible things. You know, you heard the same old. Well, he was just a quiet person, seemed nice, blah, 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 blah. They never mention the multiple complaints that these individuals made and tried to make about being targeted. You see, that's a story we never hear. And this is a story I'm trying to tell. And this is why I thought it couldn't be a more fitting place to do it as in a place like Tupelo, Mississippi. For those that know anything about Elvis, knew that he was getting a lot of heat in the height of the peak of his career. One of the reasons because of his drug use. But in the 60s, of course, Elvis was on record for, I'm going to post up in front of these stalkers and see, there we go. Went on record saying that he didn't do it, the Beatles did it. But he wasn't the one that actually introduced that. And he was a fan of people in law enforcement all over the country. He was just as concerned, genuinely concerned. This wasn't a cover because he was addicted to prescription painkillers. It was a genuine concern. For anybody to say that was ingenuous is wrong. This man was a child of God. He was religious. 2 Grammys, only 2 Grammys, 155 million records sold, and they're still selling. But he only got 2 Grammys, and those were for gospel music. The very establishment that said it was nigger music, and they had record burnings. Radio stations banned him. But he went on. And he did Little Richard's. and James Brown's music. And you hear a lot of people say, well, he copied, he stole. No, he does what artists continue to do today. And when they find something that moves them, or something that the people want to hear, and they want to do it, they like the song too. But because of Elvis doing those songs, the racial barrier was broken on radio. History was changed, and now radio stations all over the country were playing black music as well. And that's when the masses of white people were exposed to Little Richard, Little Milton, Chubby Checker, James Brown, Johnny Lee Hooker, B.B. King, and we can go on and on and on. So, thus earning, and rightfully so, the king of rock and roll. You can't take anything away from what Elvis did. Elvis got honorary badges all over the country for drug enforcement agencies, sheriff's department, police departments. Those are on display at Graceland. Then he asked for a DEA badge. He wanted something to punctuate his badge and honorary officer accolades by getting that DEA badge. Well, guess who the director of the FBI was? None other than one of the grandfathers of this targeting program, J. Edgar Hoover. J. Edgar Hoover was hated by every president he served under, which was 5. Robert Kennedy was very vocal about this. Robert Kennedy said, the son of a bitch is gone today. As people in the office recall, when Bobby Kennedy had vowed that J. Edgar Hoover's career was over, and said he went in J. Edgar Hoover's office. He wasn't in there long, but when he walked out, J. Edgar Hoover still had a job. And we know what happened to Bobby Kennedy. We know what happened to JFK. But going back to Elvis, he was determined. J. Edgar Hoover, absolutely not. Because Elvis, unbeknownst to him, he may have known, was being surveilled, wiretapped, his every move, everything he did, where he slept, who he slept with. Everything that happened as it pertained to Elvis Presley was kept in minute detail. He was stalked, ladies and gentlemen. He was stalked. We know at the end of his life, after he divorced Priscilla, things kind of spiraled out of control with his weight gain, his debt. Colonel Parker was awful business manager, and he got 50% of everything Elvis did, except his movie stuff he did in California, and Elvis got all that. That was one of the reasons Elvis went to Hollywood. Elvis, in his worst of times, when he was physically, very physically unhealthy, needed rest, needed to rest his mind and his soul, was unable to do so because his close friend said, I've got too many people depending on me. I'm in debt up to my ears. I'll go under if I don't tour. So that's why the world had to see Elvis in the state he was in, even with his physical state. If you'll go back and look at some of those videos, his voice, that iconic voice was still there. That soul was still there. But you could tell it was a tormented individual. Now, a lot of people say, well, it was the drugs. Let me tell you what, folks. The drug use and the things that we witnessed with him are just symptoms of the cause. J. Edgar Hoover said no, he couldn't get an honorary badge. Well, you know, Elvis was used to getting his way. When Elvis was in town, Las Vegas has never seen numbers like they've seen. How they increased. Almost doubled, if not tripled, every time Elvis was performing at the Las Vegas Hilton in Las Vegas. He was able to do that. To his dying day, pack houses because he was the king. Elvis went to D.C. I don't recall the name of the hotel, but he rented several rooms, and Richard Nixon was the president. And he sent a letter over there to the president, and I'm going to paraphrase. Mr. President, I'd like an audience with you. I'm in the hotel, name the hotel. I'm in room such and such, such and such, and such and such. He had more than one room because he had an entourage. And I'm prepared to stay here until you speak with me. This is Elvis Presley, ladies and gentlemen, sending a letter over to the President of the United States. The next day, he was given that audience. He told Richard Nixon what he wanted. Richard Nixon promptly arranged for Elvis and a press conference. They did a photo shoot. He gave him that honorary DEA badge, shaking her hand, and that's a famous picture. And you can imagine, he went over J. Edgar Hoover's head. And we know what happened to Richard Nixon. You see, folks, how it works, what rocking the boat does. And so, many people are targeted. They have no idea that it's going on. This program is designed for one thing, is to destroy the targeted individual. The outcome, I want to be real clear about this. The intended outcome, ladies and gentlemen, is one thing and one thing only. It's for that targeted individual to die. It's not, oh, we think everybody's out to kill us. I don't think anybody is out to kill me. You see me out here in public. Do I look scared? I'm not. I serve a big God. God does not give you the spirit of fear. I'm here today because God says I can be here. I'm free as I can be today because God called it that way. I'm healthy because God called it that way. Have they tried? Have I been drugged, poisoned, had attempts on my life? You betcha. Documented. Time and time again. Law enforcement runs the targeting, gang stalking program. It's not that they know about it. They all know about it. They have that code of silence, among themselves. One cop tell on another. That's just taboo. There are more good cops, ladies and gentlemen, than there are bad cops. Just because they're in law enforcement does not mean they're down with these crimes against humanity. This program not only has gone rogue, baby, it's off the chain. When you look at what the other targeted individuals, and I see hundreds of posts a day from all over the world, this program has spread globally, thanks to America. Yes, they had the old Stasi programs and stuff. We had Nazi Germany. We've had these situations only until 9/11. Somehow, the powers that be were able to seal the deal. And they sealed the deal with the Patriot Act. And we got Homeland Security, and there's one in every state. And it's not a federal agency, ladies and gentlemen, no more than the Federal Reserve is not a federal agency, and FedEx isn't the post office. That's just a play on words. That fusion center, one in Mississippi, its chief director is going to be the governor of this state, Tate Reeves. I think Tate Reeves is a fine man. I think if Tate Reeves took a stand against the atrocities that deep state fusion center, Homeland Security, is doing, I think he knows what the repercussions would be. And no one wants to fall or succumb to the repercussions of this evil, diabolical, what are we going to do with it program. You see, just like J. Edgar Hoover had minute details on people that never met him. He would go into a restaurant and the waiter would come up and J. Edgar Hoover would start talking about that waiter's girlfriend or boyfriend, waitress's girlfriend, boyfriend, might have been boyfriend, I don't know. We know J. Edgar Hoover was a closet queer, so who knows? He's probably at a gay bar eating lunch. And absolutely would startle people, scare them to death. My God, how does this man know? That was what he was about, you see. You see, it is people. And in stalking, it's the same way. You've got your frontline crash dummies that are in your house, plant cameras, listening devices. They track your phone. They've got access to all this to get through law enforcement. And they get a pass. I've ran hundreds of tag numbers. They come back, nothing. I said, well, hold it. And I'm talking with a company. They can't explain it, or won't, but I can. You see, the stalkers have got this little protection. They've got those tags or marks. So they're in another town, or somebody pulls them over, something like that. We're out there doing their bullshit, like they are now. They run that tag. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. You didn't wonder why the Masons love this stuff. They love all this secret shit. And they'll go to church too, try to make sure they be good people. Listen here. I don't care where you go to church or where your membership is. Any more difference if my dog joins the First Baptist Church down here and is there every time the door's open. A year from now, you know it's going to be a dog, okay? It ain't going to change. So, same way with a Mason. You're either a Mason or born again Christian. You can't be both. That's impossible. That's a conflict of interest, my friend, in a million different ways. I don't care. I say, well, it's based on the Bible. So was the Ku Klux Klan, based on the Bible. The Crusades. I mean, come on, folks. America's got to wake up and take a stand. I posted yesterday, why are the churches so silent? You don't hear anything. Well, there's only a few reasons there. One, they don't want to rock the boat with their parishioners. That's their bread and butter, you see. They choose and vet these preachers in these denominations. They work them about just like stalking, you know. They know everything about them, and they make sure that that preacher's going to talk about things they want them to talk about, not talk about things they don't want them to talk about. But did anybody consider that preacher, who called them to preach? The Luciferian Masons? Joseph Smith? The chief of police, or was it God? Well, I can tell you, folks, many, many churches out there, God has never darkened the door. Those people in there praying, their prayers ain't going no higher than the ceiling. They ain't got a clue. Because if anybody, and I repeat, anybody that is complacent with this program, you're either part of the problem or part of the solution. If you're complacent with it, friend, and you know about it, and you're not taking a stand some way, you can write letters, you can make phone calls, you can get on Facebook and you can start posting things. You don't have to use your real name. Look at the stalkers. None of them do. All of them are trolls. And there are many TIs that have to use an assumed name because in fear of repercussions. There are so many TIs that their own family has no idea. Well, she's bipolar or he's got issues. That's a lie from the pits of hell. This program is designed to systematically, little bitty bites, to deteriorate the target by tampering with your vehicle. I've had 3 destroyed. Smear tactics, setting you up, framing you for crimes. All that's happened to me and can prove it. It's happened more than once, or attempted at that. And we'll save that for another day on that particular deal. So they'll destroy the reputation. Because they follow you around, they learn your routine. And so everywhere you shop. And even when you join a church, now they can't get to everybody all the time, but they will still get people's ear and say, better watch this person. They're a rapist, a pedophile, a molester, a thief, a con artist, whatever they put in there. None of these things are based on facts. They might be basing their asinine, long tongue lie over whatever Johnny Law told them. Now, many in law enforcement are Masons. Now, that's not to mean that all law enforcement are involved with the Masons. No, I'm not trying to do a Da Vinci Code deal here. I can just tell you that if you're a Mason or an Eastern Star, you're full of shit and it's an evil organization. I mean, I can't be any more blunt than that. Enough said. Enough said. I'm a born again Christian. Guess what? Ain't no secret. There ain't no secrets in that Bible. God didn't say nothing about a secret. And anything about racism. Didn't say anything about targeting or swearing an oath and allegiance to anything other than him. Now, Elvis died much too soon. We'll never know the full potential had he not have been stalked. This town, from the Tupelo Hardware, where his first guitar was purchased, as a matter of fact, he wanted a BB gun. He went in there, that's what he thought he was getting. He was gonna throw a fit and show his ass to get a BB gun. And it was his mama wasn't gonna have anything to do with it. And they were arguing. I mean, he was kicking up a fuss, and his mother and Gladys said, no. Now, folks, that says a lot. Elvis did end up owning a bunch of guns. The clerk, and this came from a reporter that interviewed this clerk that said, look, I was standing there. This is what happened. He said, I said, well, trying to change the subject or get them on something, I grabbed the guitar and said, well, what about a guitar? And his mama said, the guitar or nothing. And guess what? He got that guitar. Now, what if he hadn't got that guitar? Elvis would have still been Elvis, okay? We'll leave it at that. He saw the glaring looks the white people gave them as they walked on the streets because of the way he dressed. He dressed and it was like black people. So he was our first wigger. And folks, you know, I use these this phraseology for the purpose of what I'm doing. They saw how they looked down on his mother, and he loved her more than life itself. That was really the death blow, actually, for Elvis, is when his mother passed away. But no love lost in this town. He went to Memphis and at Sun Records in Sam Phillips. And that, my friends, where history was changed. Which brings me to another individual that also changed history. That was also a king. The king of pop. Michael Jackson. He's recorded, and you can look, and there's some recent revelations that have come out again about Michael Jackson being stalked and targeted. Not in a different way. Okay? Folks saying it's different, a difference when groups of people, it's the same deal, okay? It's the same people. Because this individual has this platform. Now, I won't go into all the things they accused him of, all the horrible things that the media couldn't get enough of, especially the, and when I say the media, you got two people, print people that represent the media as a whole. This is where your credibility ought to go. The New York Times and National Enquirer. And if you subscribe to those, then you probably are not interested in anything I got to say. You're interested in anything but the truth. Not one time did Michael Jackson ever sue anyone for libel. He just went on. He made his statements. They're ignorant. It's a lie. Johnny Cochran paid millions for these bottom feeders to make it go away because Michael Jackson wanted that off of him. He wanted to have a family. But remember this, folks. He was married to Elvis's only child, Lisa Marie. And folks, I believe that says a lot. That's more symbolic, the most symbolic union in modern music history, what I just told you. Michael Jackson went to Graceland. He tipped his hat to the king. I remember people saying, oh, Elvis rolling in his grave. Lisa Marie's married a black man. I said, what are you talking about? He's shouting on streets of gold. Folks, let me tell you. It's time. I'm on here daily talking about our Witness Data Evidence Collection Band. North Mississippi Anti-Gang Stalking Association. We're working nationwide and working with people globally, okay? I'm working with people nationwide, collectively, on this data band, okay? We're going to federal court in Washington, D.C. The stuff that people told you, I didn't prove anything. We want it. Your story, that's crazy. That's stalker talk. We want it. And we're getting it, folks, and we're getting it in spades. Oh my God, are we getting it in spades? What are you talking about? Let me tell you. This is going to be the shot heard around the world, folks. This federal court can and will and does have the power to bring cataclysmic change to this country. We all don't have civil liberties, justice, due process. Our constitutional rights are systematically violated based on illegal data entries. Here we go. There we go. Can you say Mississippi? That puts an exclamation point on the mentality that we're dealing with nationwide. There you have it. A picture's worth 1,000 words. But it's these illegal entries. Your name, my name, whoever name is on this list that you'll never see, that's protected. And to keep an eye on people, that's supposedly illegal. But stalking is a crime. The information put on anything about me is a lie. That's called fraud. They know it is. How could they not know it is? I've got 24/7 surveillance on my phone, on my computer, from my mailbox, my house, killing pets, sabotaging cars, jobs, and everything. You name it, it's happened. I've documented it. I don't know about you folks. I've been sick and tired. I've been sick and tired of sick and tired. They can stalk. They can run their asshole parades until hell freezes over. But I'm going to promise you one thing. The parades will stop before hell freezes over. You can bet that. I don't care that you're doing it. Law enforcement has green lighted it. Does not make it legal. Does not, let me repeat, does not make it legal. They have to sign a confidentiality agreement. The law enforcement officers do, as it pertains to this targeting program. They're all trained from the crash dummy all the way up. This is not something that you discuss. Even in a confrontational situation, you do not discuss it. They're programmed over and over again about how to dismiss anything that is a trigger to try to get a person to self-incriminate. But everybody makes mistakes. I've been in it long enough, plenty have. There's many things that I do know, and people that are heavily involved in this, they're pillars of the community. Some are not pillars, they'd like to be, and they think they're anonymous. I can tell you, you're about as anonymous as I am. I'll get on here and state facts, offer to back those facts up with evidence about my conviction and all that. As quick as I get on there and I put some asshole on blast for their crimes and their involvement, you get a bunch of these trolls and ditzy ass morons that will run their fence and miss and first thing off the only thing they do is name call and smear tactic. That's all the stalkers know, folks. Those frontline stalkers, let me tell you, you would think that law enforcement would be concerned about drug use amongst our youth. If that's the case, folks, if that's the case, let me show you this right here. Oh, it's the men in black, fool. If that's the case, then why? I just can't tell. I mean, it's like watching a car wreck, isn't it? They condone drug use. They'll catch a young lady or a young man that's on the edge. And there's your punctuation mark. On the edge, and make sure they have an endless supply of drugs and give them the money for the controlled buys, and they work them like Hebrew slaves. And they don't give a shit how it turns out. I'm telling you, folks, they don't give a shit. These people do it out of addiction. So they use these drug addicts. It doesn't matter. These sexual perverts, go ahead, yeah. They co-sign with that stuff. They co-sign with criminal behavior daily. Not just the drugs, folks. Everything. Breaking in houses. It came right out of one of the perpetrators' mouth that the sheriff's department had green lighted them to break in my house, destroy and steal property, and not to worry, they wouldn't do anything about it. But why? He's mentally unbalanced. He's made too many complaints. So apparently there's a complaint limit. Once you reach that, why, they can't take you serious anymore. Let me tell you, folks, I've had people confess to me, we're scared. An elderly couple ended up being a murder-suicide. I warned law enforcement prior and after. FBI prior, FBI after, and state and local law enforcement. You need to talk to me. It's all in the press. I was there, and I know they know I was there because they were asking the stalkers why my picture was on this individual's phone. I remember him taking a picture and said, "This is Richard Moore." He said, "God works in ways, a lot of ways we don't understand. So that's how I know. They can't get around to the fact that we didn't know. We didn't get the call. That's another lie. And you see it's one lie after another and after another after another. To this day, they've not taken my statement. Whatever the story is, it's whatever the story, and everybody's ran with it. Nobody wants to know the truth. So the main perpetrator, was several of the main perpetrators. One being his neighbor, I've already named his name, living a free life, good old boy, Tupelo, Mississippi. A whole family of them, folks, that thinks it's okay to destroy other and torture other people. They don't give two shits whether what they're saying is true or false. That's what they're told to do, and that's what they do. They know. But folks, let me tell you, they can't be happy. They cannot be happy. They might put on a face of happiness. You can't have the love of Christ in you and be a member of a demonic hate group. And that's about the simplest way to put it. A demonic hate group. They didn't want to know about it. Laws are being broken every day. People are dying. The ultimate goal is for the targeted individual to die, to commit suicide. Many of you have just wanted to die because you've been isolated. You're homeless or will be forced into homelessness. People have, you can't control the rumor mill. They've accused you of psychosis. You've been in a mental hospital. You've been in jail, wrongfully accused or convicted. The list goes on and on and on of how you're systematically destroyed. And when you start talking about it, you get dismissed. You're paranoid now. You need to slow it down. And I know that pisses you off. It does me. Folks, I want to hear it. I don't think you're paranoid. I think something's wrong with you if you don't get on our witness stand and tell your story. That's what blows my mind. It seems to me like people sit there and rather cry about all the shit that's being done to them every day. How do you stop this? How do you stop that? Well, folks, I don't have all those answers, okay? I'm not the Wizard of Oz here. If one gets up on me close, I know how to stop them, okay? They know I know how to stop them. And I am not torn about, look here, I'm not torn at all, or in some kind of a crossroads at what kind of decision I would have to make in a split second. I know exactly what that is. Now, some of them pull up, the ones that do intentionally or unintentionally engage in conversation or something, I mean, really, they've got their head 10 foot up my ass. They already know, they know what time it is. They already been clued in. I've yet to get one up on me close, cop an attitude. You can go ahead and do it if you want to, okay? May the best man win. I'm gonna keep fighting this fight. I'm not backing up. I'm not slowing down. You can stalk. Like I said, till hell freezes over. You can do that. Breaking the law and torturing people. Look here, I mean, it's Tupelo place, it's they're gonna make a constant. Of course, sure, police station's right over there. Whatever. I'm live. Whatever. Folks, it does get old. Every day, I give up. And every day, I buckle down that much more. Mentally, we give up. All the time, that's normal. We quit. Enough's enough. You know, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, folks, ain't nobody sign on for this shit. What we really want to know is, are you ready to do something about it? You can either be about it, or you can talk about it. And those that just want to talk about it, find somewhere else to just talk about it, okay? Because I'm not the great conversationalist, believe it or not. I don't have time. So you talk all the time. Well, baby, I'm not sitting there talking about shit that doesn't matter, okay? People's lives are at stake right now. People need help right now. And for many people, it's too late. That's what drives me from day to day to day. I don't want that blood on my hands. These fake preachers, they're not all fake, just like law enforcement. But these fake preachers, and there's preachers out there that are men of God, but have no backbone. And let me tell you, folks, many TIs out there hadn't got a backbone either. I can't believe you said that. By God, I said it. You know why? Because you refuse to quit caterwauling and start writing. Document. This is what happens to me daily. I don't care what it is. Don't ask me how to fix it. Told you how we're gonna fix it, okay? Don't you think that after this class action, don't you think that the Justice Department and Attorney General Barr have got the manpower to do what needs to be done? You better believe it. We're going for the pocketbook, just like they did the TI. We're going for the pocketbook. The very things they have not violated and denied us, our civil and constitutional rights, it's those things, it's those laws that don't apply to us unless it involves putting us in a jail. But for protection and all that stuff, those laws are the laws they're gonna have to live by. There will be culpability for every individual that's involved. When TI start talking, let me tell you, they built this foundation. Now, I'm going to end with this, of all these frontline people, and the majority of them confidential informant snitches. That's a hell of a foundation to build something that you don't want really talked about, isn't it? I mean, you've got hundreds and thousands of paid snitches, and they're all gonna hold their water, aren't you? Let me tell you what, folks, snitches do what snitches do. Let me tell you, folks, this is the domino effect. They're putting all their marbles in that game to stop. They do not want us to succeed. Folks, I tell you who does want us to succeed, and that's God. I'm here because of that. I'm talking to you because of that. I don't care how big and how complex and powerful they think they are. Well, who are they? I just told you who they is. And the FBI asked me, who are they? I said, I just got through this. I'm on the phone with the FBI, Major Organized Crime Task Force. Sarcastically, the agent said, well, who are they? I said, hold up a minute. I said, are you like is this a telemarketing organization or is this the FBI? She said, I'm an FBI, I'm a federal agent. I said, I just told you that my telephone was not secure. It had been compromised. And then I had information that was pertinent to law enforcement's involvement in covering up crimes, major crimes, from drug smuggling to murder. And you want me to name names. I said, you have got to be, and I won't go into explicitives. And I hung up on them. Who are they? Too many times, I've heard that too many times. They know who they are. Why would you ask me that? Anytime somebody asks you that, that's in law enforcement, and give you that puzzled look, folks, that's saying, look, I'm a stalker, and I took an oath, and I swore that I'm gonna carry you like you're a stupid idiot and scratch my head and recommend that you take a whole bottle of Prozac, or better yet, jump off a cliff. Well, back at you, stalker. Today would be a good stalker for every one of them. Every stalker that sees this video. You know what would be beautiful, wonderful? Every perp that sees this video, that after you get through, take a couple of razor blades and cut your jugular veins and bleed out and do the world a favor. That would be a red letter day in my life, honey. You talking about when every time these stalkers have meetings and one of the perpetrators kills himself, they have punch and reach around parties and give each other high fives. I seen a old bitch out there where I live, about 60 years old, with a Raggedy Ann outfit on, I mean some Daisy Duke overalls or something. You can tell she's a stalker. You can spy. I can spy a mile away. Especially when the stalkers with a heavy incest. I mean, their eyes are further apart. Anyway, I won't go into that. But high five and stuff. And I said, she's talking to everybody, but she didn't speak to me. Thank God. On a good day or bad day, bitch, please. I'll roll that way. And but somehow, I mean, I just knew. I'm not thinking, oh, everybody's looking at something. No. I said, anger came over me. I said, I hope that whore not high-fiving like they've accomplished something with me. I'm gonna tell you what, folks, I'm still here. So you either tighten up your kill tactics or step back and let somebody else do it. But I can tell you what, folks, we're dealing with a whole flock of cowards. They're weak, they're worthless, they're liars, they're snakes, they're everything but a hold up, stand up, solid individual. They're not any representation of this great country. Folks, today, go to my Facebook page, North Mississippi Anti-Gang Stalking Association. You'll see the banned TI witness data site. Click that link. There's some vetting questions. Answer those. Once approved, there's an option in there, create your own band. That's your private place for you to write notes daily, tell your story, submit videos, evidence, names. Nobody else is going to see it. Only the administrators are going to see it. These things will be, we will go through those things, and if people are going to go through it, and those things will be part of the evidence presented in federal court. Folks, we're going to call this our shock and awe, just like they do with you when you started targeting. And it was just masses of moronic fools on their stupid shit. And folks, let me tell you, it's so much fraud. We followed the money. It's all about the money. All about the money. And the money trail and that paper trail, whoo, honey, let me tell you, they can't lie about that. Figures don't lie, but liars can figure. And I can tell you what, folks, these liars better figure one thing. We're coming, and we're bringing hell with us. Until next time, God bless you.